else's future.
Let me understand what is stopping you from financially forward thinking. Let's go.
Yeah. Wake up, check the bank account. Watch the numbers running out. Send a check to someone new. Generous is what I do. Walking down the leasing street. Cycle that I just repeat. Money rushing left and right. Gone before the end of night. Don't know the route, don't know the
Every month you send a check. You call it rent. I call it generous contribution to someone else's future.
Hold up, pause the beat. You're making that generous monthly contribution, but are you building your legacy? Whether it's your first home or move up.
Every month you send a check. You call it rent. I call it generous contribution to someone else's future.
Yeah, justify, yeah, stuck in comfort, stuck in fear. That's why I'm staying here. If the pipe begins to leak, I don't even have to speak. But who pays for it really? But that comfort as a cost. Not the equity I lost. While I sit here paying rent, my future cash is already spent. Some days fast, some days slow. That's just how the tennis go. But if you listen to the sound, it's your money. Don't let it hit the ground.
Every month you send a check. You call it rent. I call it generous contribution to someone else's future. Every month you send a check. You call it rent. I call it generous contribution to someone else's future.
Every check that I have sent vanished in the void of red.
Stop the vanishing eye.
Yeah, forward thinking. Yeah. Don't perpetuate yourself tendency. Take the move. William Carpet. Helping you buy, sell, and invest with confidence. Pick up the phone, let's change the path. Call it, fix me. 1651.
Rent. I call it.
That's the tempo. We talking minutes.
All right, all right. For those of you who are perpetuating your sales in tendency, just making those generous contributions on a monthly basis. Help me understand this 2026. What is stopping you from financially forward thinking? As we have our financial expert here who will be telling you, how you can navigate. How are you, Cynthia? How you can navigate from what? Turning not yet into welcome home.
Yep. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to turn not yet, into welcome home. Let's get you in the house, understanding down payment challenges and real solutions to help you buyers move forward so that you have something that's constantly moving rather than going, I just don't think I can do it. Let's turn that into, like the little, I grew up with the story of the little engine that could where I think I can. Let's turn that into I think I can, and then get to the I can. Wow, I can. So let's turn that not yet into welcome home.
All right, all right.
We're going to meet the buyers. The buyers are qualified and ready, right? You may not be qualified, you may not be ready, but we're going to help you get there. We're going to help you get your credit scores up. We're going to help you get qualified. If your income is not sufficient, who do you have as a co-signer that we can add in? Who do you have as a co-borrower that we can add in? How do we get somewhere? Do you have to have that second job for another 6 months and then we can use that? What is it that we need to do in order to get you to that next step? And then your strong income and credit. So credit makes a huge difference. Credit makes a difference as to what programs we can put you in, as to what down payment assistance is available for you. And the higher we can get that credit score, the more programs that become available to you. So we want to do that. We want to strengthen your income. Say like you work 36 hours one week, 38 the next, but you really could work 40 hours every week. Let's get you to that 40 hours week in and week out so that you can then have a full-time employment that I can use right away rather than a part-time employment with variable hours that take a year to two in order to have that history to be able to use it. So we'll talk about those things. And then many people struggle with upfront closing costs or upfront costs. Typically 3% down, 3% for closing costs and prepaid, so that on a $300,000 house, you're talking about $9,000 closing costs and $9,000 for the down payment. Where are you going to come up with that $18,000? Today, we're going to talk about a program that's going to help you come up with the first 10. So then could you do the other 8? And if you can't do the other 8, maybe we can get the seller to pay 5 and you can do 3. We can figure out, is there another down payment assistance program we can marry up with that down payment in order for you to purchase. So that's what we're going to talk about, is the Metro Home Down Payment Assistance Program. That's what's next on our agenda here. The buyer steps must be completed prior to writing your purchase agreement. This is a big deal. It used to be that you could take the home buyer class after you write the purchase agreement, but most down payment assistance programs are now making you do this beforehand. So it's very important that you we start the pre-approval process. You're going to take a home buyer education class, which is either 8 hours in person, 8 hours online. The 8 hours can be split into 4 hours 2 evenings, across 2 evenings, or 4 hours on a Saturday and then 4 hours the next Saturday. Or you can take an online course that's called Framework. That's where you do the test while you're at home, or the modules at home. And then you have a pre-purchasing advising appointment, and I've located a pre-purchasing advising approved HUD provider that can do those within 24 hours, 48 hours at the most. So within a couple of days of starting this process, we can get you both the framework certificate and the pre-purchasing class within 4 days, and you can be off and running to go buy a home. But you have to do these for most down payment assistance programs now before you write the purchase agreement. Completion certificates can't be older than 12 months. So if suddenly it takes you a year and a half in order to buy, you have to redo it, but that's okay because you already know how easy it is to go through those classes, and taking it again will not be harmful. It'll all be helpful because, sometimes when we hear things the second time, we learn even more. And then we'll finish the first mortgage pre-approval with me with making sure that by that time I have your pay stubs, your W-2s, tax returns, I have bank statements, all those things in line so that we can get you to the pre-approval process and reserve those funds. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with either William or myself, and then we're going to connect you with me to get your pre-approval process started. I'll get you the links to take the home buyer education. If you end up doing framework, which I recommend, it's a simple, quick process. People can do it from home. Then we'll get you connected with a one-on-one appointment in order to have the home buyer education, the home buying certificate certified. And then you can go out with William and go shopping for a home. Sounds good, doesn't it, William?
Definitely, definitely. That is what I would like to hear.
So we're going to go on to the next one. Strategies changes everything. Having a strategy, having steps in place in order to help you along the way. So there are down payment assistance options. We're going to move you from waiting to buying, and we're going to personalize a home buying plan for you. We're not going to say, "Oh, listen, your credit's no good. Why don't you just go and get that fixed?" I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I am actually going to give you a plan in place that you can follow in order to get your credit score up. All debts need to be paid on time. If you're behind on anything, you know yourself you need to get that caught up. You can't be 90 days behind on a home auto loan, for instance, or a credit card, and expect someone to give you a mortgage loan, because they're not going to. They're going to say, well, cars needed to go to work. That's pretty important, but you're letting that be 90 days behind, and it's really hard to catch up with things once they start to go behind. We've all been there, right? But that's trying to keep things on time so that you're able to handle your income in a spending budget plan for yourself so that you can move forward. I'm going to go on to some additional buyer steps. Within 24 hours of the application, which is after you've written your offer and it's accepted, I'll help you submit then all the supporting documents that you've already given me. We'll make application for the down payment assistance. You've already got the first mortgage pre-approval from me. You've got the fully executed purchase agreement that you're doing through William. You've got your education certificates already in hand. I might need to update the most recent pay stubs so that it's the most recent 30 days. 2 years of tax returns, I'd already have 24 and 25 in my hand. 2 years of W-2s, 24 and 25 I already have for you. 2 months of most recent bank statements. Maybe we need to update those a little bit. And then your front copy of your driver's license. So those are pretty simple pieces in order to put into place in order to then get you your down payment assistance reserved. And then the down payment assistance I want to talk about today is called Metro Home. These programs do come and go pretty quickly. So knowing what's out there and what's available and which one is funding is what my job is. The Old National Bank program will always have funds all through 2026, but we're limited to Hennepin and Ramsey County. The state of Minnesota Housing has down payment assistance for the entire state of Minnesota. That does not run out of funds, but these smaller ones that are more targeted to areas do run out of money pretty quickly. Quickly might be 60 or 90 days, might be 6 months, but we want to make sure that you have the option to be able to go after that money if it's available to you. I'm going to move on to the next screen. William, unless you have something you'd like to add? Nope, we're there. Okay. So the one we're going to talk about today is Metro Home. It provides down payment assistance to help homebuyers in the 11 county metro area. So that's really cool. It's a bigger area than the down payment assistance that just ran out. It's up to $10,000. The borrower must make a $1,000 minimum contribution. But the cool part is you do not have to be a first-time home buyer. You're not restricted to a first-time home buyer with this money. The loan has no monthly payment and does not accrue interest. The loan is deferred, though. You do have to pay it back. It's a maximum of 30 years that it's deferred. But if, for instance, I sell the house, rent it out, refinance it, transfer title somehow, or no longer live in the home, I do have to pay this money back, this $10,000. That is due and payable upon those kind of situations happening. So let's say I'm elderly and I move into a nursing home. Down payment assistance is due and payable. I have a second home that I've got down in Florida that I moved to, and I start to make Florida my address, not Minnesota for my address, for income tax purposes, right? Florida's a much better taxing state, so I do that. Well, now I've changed my primary residence from Minnesota to Florida. Therefore, I have to pay this $10,000 back. I'm going to let my son live here, and I'm going to go move in with my daughter. no longer living there. I now have to pay the $10,000 back. So there's some triggers that happen that people don't quite think happen, you know. Or I've decided to get married, and when I got married, my husband had a house, so I'm moving out. We're going to rent out this house that I bought, but that then makes me no longer living there as my primary residence, and so therefore I have to pay that money back. So the eligibility is there, but the payback, you really have to understand when that happens so that you're not suddenly surprised with it, because this is a silent $10,000 that's there. You don't really remember it's there till all of a sudden somebody comes knocking on your door with a piece of mail that says, hey, you need to pay this back, right? So we want you to be fully aware that it's there so that you're cognizant of it during the process. We'll go on to the next slide, William. And I apologize, I'm going a little bit fast because I have an event that I have to go to a little bit later tonight. Starts at 6:30, 6:40. And William has been gracious in letting me still come on and go through this program with you. So if I'm speaking too fast, I apologize. Rewind the tape and play it again, or give me a call, or give William a call, and we'll talk through it. The eligibility on this Metro home, though, is that the asset limit of no more than $50,000. So I can't have more than $50,000 left in my bank accounts after I'm done using their $10,000. So if I have $55,000 in my checking and savings account, this is not retirement accounts. This is checking, savings, liquid assets, right? If I have $55,000, I have to put $5,000 more into the transaction. I can't have more than $50,000 left over afterwards. Non-occupant co-buyers and co-signers are allowed. That's a big deal. So that, let's say I make a little bit of money, but my mom likes to help me, and so I want my mom to come in on the loan in order to qualify for something a little bit bigger. She will be a non-occupant co-signer that's agreed to also make that mortgage payment with me. I have to be up to 80% AMI qualified income qualified income. What that means is in a 4-person household, it's about $104,200 annually is my maximum income that I can make in order for me to qualify for the loan. And that also means for my co-signer, co-borrower, right? Whether they're going to live with me or not going to live with me, we're including their income as well. If it's in a qualified census tract, I can go to 120% of income, which would, 100% is about 132. So it probably will take me up to 150. And that census tract, I can go through and show you those. Those are going to be more of your inner city St. Paul, inner city Minneapolis, North Minneapolis. There are parts in Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, a little bit in Bloomington and Richfield, Robbinsdale. Those areas have some of those LMI census tracts that we can go to 120% LMI. So 120% of the area median income. Must be your primary residence. We talked about that just a little bit, but it's Anoka, Carver, Dakota. Dakota hasn't had a down payment assistance program available in a very long time. This is a very nice one for Dakota County. Hennepin, Isani also has kind of been left out. So is Anoka. Ramsey, Scott County, Sherburne County hasn't had a DPA in a while. Washington and Wright counties, and Wright County also. They all have the state of Minnesota down payment assistance program, but this is a supplement to that program. And you don't have to have a first mortgage from Minnesota Housing in order to use this down payment assistance, which usually saves you about 0.25% on the interest rate on your first mortgage. Household is based on all persons that will be living in the home. So if I'm going to live in the home and my boyfriend's going to be living in the home, right? We have to use his income to qualify because he's an adult in that household, right? And then my mom is co-signing with me, so we're using her income. So we have to be very careful about who's going to be living in the house in order to make that income qualification. And as always, restrictions apply. Not all rules and guidelines are being presented, right? And they can change at any time, and funds are never guaranteed. We hope to get them. We want to get you qualified first based upon Minnesota Housing or Old National Bank down payment assistance, because those don't go away. And then when you find the house, we use these supplemental down payment assistance programs when they have money in order to be able to close on your loan. It just is a nice way to give you an extra, for instance, in this case, an extra $10,000 to buy that home. We're going to move on to the next one, finding your path forward. We're going to review the qualifications, explore assistance programs, and create your strategy. So we're first going to get you pre-qualified, and we're going to do that by making sure your credit is sufficient, your income is strong, and then after you find the house and you've made the offer on the house, we have the purchase agreement, we'll review the qualifications. Maybe one program is out of money, another one has money. We'll work with you in order to find as much money as we possibly can for you to be able to buy and continue to create your story and your strategy. Your story of being a homeowner, right? Because that's where you start to build your wealth, and you're building your wealth, not someone else's, right? Because as a renter, what are you doing? You're building somebody else's wealth, aren't you? So let's start building your own wealth and get you moving forward. And so what did I say in the beginning? I think I called it, I said, let's get you from turning not yet into welcome home. Not yet into welcome home. And then we're going to get you ready to buy a home. And I can't wait to help you. This has been just an enjoyable process for years for me in this profession. And I really love helping the homeowner say yes when they thought all they could do was say no. William?
All right. And this is what I usually say for those of you who are perpetuating yourselves in tenancy, just making those generous contributions on a monthly basis. Help me understand this 2026. What is stopping you from financially forward thinking? Right. Because every check you cut, you call it rent, I call it what? Generous contributions. Just funding the retirement program of your landlord. Emmanuel, do you have any questions?
Right? It's not even generous contribution. If I'm making a generous contribution to my church, I get that all as tax deductible, dollar for dollar tax deductible, right? When you're making your rent payment, your rent's not tax deductible. You might get a refund on some of the property taxes, but you'd get that if you were a homeowner as well. But you'd get all of the property tax refund, not just a portion of it like you're getting as a renter. So let's get you so that you're not contributing to somebody else's wealth, but you're contributing to your own wealth.
All right. You guys, y'all work back to back, double, all the shift that your employer can offer. And then you take that money and then you place it into the bank account of another man. Help me understand. So, what is the most important piece of advice you would give to someone considering home ownership, but are struggling with down payment, which is the major hurdle and impediment in our community? This down payment assistance.
My best piece of advice is to pick up that phone and make that first call. I personally have had credit score as low as 350 credit score, which is after that it just disappears. But I have had some of the lowest credit scores in my life. And I was going through a very hard time, but I pulled myself out. And in doing so, I learned about credit. I learned what made a credit score go up faster, what made a big difference, what made a big difference for me. And really, I have to tell you, the weight of having a challenging credit score weighs on you more than you realize, right? You want to go buy that car, but you're going to be paying 29% interest rate, and that almost becomes like a weight itself, because you don't want to be turned down by dealers when you go in and look at a car, and you want to be able to buy a good car. Same with a house. You want to be able to buy a good house that has good bones, good heating and air conditioning, good roof, not something that's going to nickel and dime you to death. You need to be in a house that's going to take care of your family, not steal from your family. And that's where a low credit score pushes you into that other corner. And we want to get you out of there so that you can get a house that's going to be perfect for your family.
All right, all right. Well, thank you very much for having you, Cynthia. I mean, it has been a pleasure and always is. Look forward to hearing from you next week. Until we do meet in another episode, I will talk to you. But thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, William. I'm so sorry I had to make it so short today. Be well. Bye now.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I know I can see you next week. So, I mean, it's not a problem. Thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it.
Bye now.
Bye.
Someone else's future.
What an amazing
all right.
Every month you send a check. You call it rent. I call it generous contribution to someone else's future.
It is not even generous contribution, so I have to make a ratification of myself.
Every month you send a check. You call it rent. I call it generous contribution to someone else's future.
If you are making that to the church, it will be tax deductible. But that money that you are
every month you send a check. You call it rent. I call it generous contribution to someone else's future.
So help me understand this 2026. I mean, what is stopping you from financially forward thinking? Give me a call today on 651-304-4832. And let's flip your script. Let's change your math. Okay? I've just placed a home under contract, thus changing the math and script of another person. And so help me understand this 2026. What is stopping you from financially forward thinking?
Every month you send a check. You call it rent. I call it generous contribution to someone else's future.
First, let me ask you. Help me understand what is stopping you from financially forward thinking. Let's
Generous is what I do. Walking down the leasing street, cycle that I just repeat. Money rushing left and right, gone before the end of night. Don't know the route, don't know the
Every month you send a check. You call it rent.
All right.
I call it generous contribution to
Just
someone
what?
else's
Place the
future.
property on a contract. Just came from the inspection. So what? Slots are what? Are filling up fast, but there's one for you. Give me a call today, and that's why let's flip the script. Let's change your math. I mean, you can't be working double, scooping up all of the shift from your employer, and then at the end of the day, depositing that money into the bank account of your landlord. I mean, help me make that make sense. Help me make that make sense. I mean, it does not make sense.
Every month you send a check. You call it rent. I call it generous contribution to someone else's future.
Definitely. I mean, every month, you got that check, you call it rent. It's just a generous contribution you are making towards the what? The well-being. You are just funding the retirement plan of your landlord. Well, I'm forward thinking. I've just got my home inspection report out.
Every month you send a check. You call it rent. I call it generous contribution to someone else's future.
Give me a call on 651-304-4832. Okay? And that's why. Let's flip your script. Let's change your math. Help me understand. The only question. Just returned from that beautiful home inspection. Okay, I mean, it's unspeakable. Very, very beautiful home. Could have been yours, but there are still many more out there. Many more out there that we can consider yours. So help us understand. I mean, this 2026, what is stopping you from financially forward thinking? Just funding the retirement program of your landlord. I mean, help us understand. Let's flip your script. I mean, let's change your math. Can be working double, all of the shift your employer can afford. And then what? Placing that money into the bank account of your landlord. I mean, Make that make sense. I mean, it does not. I just don't understand. I mean, why you would be what? Working hard, laboriously, all of the shape that your employer can put out there. And then at the end of the day, you just take that money and then you just dump it. I mean, as though you are some Salvation Army, and you did not travel across the Atlantic Ocean just to become a what? Or donator. So help me understand this 2026. I mean, what is stopping you from financially forward thinking, man? Help me understand before I go. Help me understand. I mean, because make that make sense. I just don't understand. I really don't understand. But just to recap what our lender was talking, the financial expert, before we go, okay, she was trying to help you understand that there is a boatload of cash, ton of cash out there to help you jump over this major hurdle, the impediment of most of you who are buying homes for the first time. The down payment, there is an assistance out there, and that you can get it if you just give us a call. Give me Willem or call. You can contact you can contact the financial expert out there. Her number is on the screen. Contact the financial expert up there, but stop paying your landlord's mortgage and start building your own wealth. Yeah, you heard it right. Stop paying your landlord's mortgage, because every rent payment that you make out there, you call it what? I mean, every check that you cut on a monthly basis, you call it rent? No, it's not. It's you just funding the retirement plan, the retirement program that your landlord has set up that you may or may not know. But we can flip the script. We can change that math, okay? We can change that entire math so that you don't just be funding your landlord retirement program, okay? Now, the major question is the down payment barrier. Why is the down payment still the number one barrier? Even though you are qualified, you may be qualified, but why is this down payment a barrier? First, let's talk about the savings gap. Many buyers have strong income because you work double, you work all of the shift that your employer can provide. You hardly sleep in that apartment, working back to back, double. By the time you come home, you close your eyes for 5 minutes, you are back into the fields, the mines, and the factories. Toiling. Can't hardly see your family. So many buyers have strong income, credit, but they lack the significant upfront cash required in today's market. And why is that so? You want to know? Next, we'll go on to the renter's trap. This is the reason why the buyers cannot come up with down payment assistance. Because of the rental trap, the money that they should be saving, they are funding their landlord's retirement plan, the landlord's retirement program. The high cost often consume every funds that will otherwise be allocated towards these down payment. Unlike homeowner, they know how much they will pay in the next 15 to 20 years for the life of the loan. But for you, perpetuating yourselves in tenancy, you do not even know how much you will be paying next month. Cost of living adjustment factors into what you'll be paying your landlord. It could increase overnight as you wake up due to the ripple effect of the increasing gas prices in the Middle East. Market pressure could be some of the reasons. Rising home prices and inflation make it increasingly difficult for families to save at the same pace as market growth. Oh, yeah. And of course, what? This is why you should contact me, because I'll focus on how this gap is often what only the thing that is standing between what renting and home ownership. So help me understand this 2026. What is stopping you from financially forward thinking? As I just what receive what the home inspection report of this beautiful property that I'm going to be what delving into, but I have slots that we can flip your script and change the map. If only you will give me a call today on 651-304-4832. And I will talk to you. Because I help people buy, sell, and invest. Not only here in Minnesota, but also in Iowa. So do not hesitate today. Do not delay, but give me a call on 651-304.
I call it generous contribution to someone else's future.
Let's change your map. I will talk to you later on. And hopefully, for those of you who are youth that are or will not be doing anything in the summer, we have a football club coming up. We will be bringing to you, we will be officially announcing to you.
Every month you send a check. You call it rent. I call it generous contribution to someone else's future.
That rubber ball. Reach out today so that you can what? You can be part of our football team. Until we do meet in another episode, I will talk to you then. But have a great day. Here we go. Help me understand for those of you who are perpetuating yourselves in tendency. Help me understand. Why are you just what? Just doing double back to back. Help me understand.